Hey guys, welcome back to True Crime with Yvonne. Today we're going to talk about Tonia Mcdonald. Tonia Mcdonald, a funny, sassy, smart, beautiful young lady who married an old rich man by the name of Everton McDonald, aka BEECHy Stout. She met him at a tender age of 19. Tonia was from Portland, Jamaica. She attended Titchfield High School. Tonia had an entrepreneurial spirit. Her dream was to have her own business, but that was cut short. According to the community, BEECHy Stout was married previously before he met Tonia. However, he still pursued the young beauty. Tonia and Marlene, BEECHy Stout's first wife, often got into altercation about BEECHy Stout. She wanted Tonia to leave her husband alone. One day, Marlene broke Tonia's phone, and soon after, she was murdered. After she was murdered, Tonia married Everton McDonald, who is also BEECHy Stout. He was a well-known, successful, influential businessman. Everton and Tonia's marriage was wonderful. Everything was going fine until Everton started feeling insecure within his marriage. He started accusing Tonia of cheating. Everton got so obsessed that he pressured Tonia about cheating. In 2015, she started looking for comfort outside of her marriage. She dated a police officer. Unbeknown to Tonia, her husband was secretly watching her every move. He knew about her cheating, but she was clueless about him knowing. It was said in court that she had other rendezvous that the husband knew about, but he didn't let her know that he knew exactly that she was cheating. One of BEECHy Stout employees testified that things were rocky in the McDonald's marriage between 2015 and 2019. The employee said he heard them arguing and fighting about cheating matches. Tonia had no idea that her husband had someone following her, so he knew her every move. To the public, they saw a lovely relationship. Her parents also saw red flags within her marriage and often warned her about leaving BEECHy Stout, particularly her dad. Her dad often warned her to leave the relationship. In 2018, her dad died, and it's alleged that Everton McDonald arranged to have her dad unalived. Yeah, that's a very wicked man. During the trial, his contracted hitman, Denvelin Minot, aka Bubbler, told prosecutors that BEECHy Stout told him he was responsible for Tonia's dad's death. He also complained about her cheating. A little bit about Denvelin Minot. So Denvelin, he was a fisherman. He was about 56 years of age, and he was familiar with the family, particularly Tonia and BEECHy Stout. He often got fish for the family, so BEECHy Stout and Tonia were familiar with him and were comfortable with him, and often you would see him riding in Tonia's car. The community also thought that she was in a relationship with Denvelin. Tonia, blinded to the fact that her husband was responsible for her dad's murder, wanted to take out the person who killed her dad. So she confided in Denvelin that she wanted to take out the person that unalived her dad. And she asked him to get her a gun. Her husband was present at the time, but there's a twist plot that will come up. On that day, Tonia gave Denvelin Minot $500,000 to get her a gun. When she turned her back, her husband spoke to Denvelin and told him that money was for a hit for his wife. Can you just imagine the level of betrayal in this marriage? The level of betrayal between people that you trust. Denvelin was too scared to approach Tonia. He said she was a good friend of his. He also stated on the trial that he had a relationship with her and he did not want to be the one to take her out. He subcontracted a friend of his who was also a fisherman. So his name is Oscar Bonds. However, him bringing a second party into this triangle was unknown to BEECHy Stout, because he only wanted one person to do the job. It went on to say that they tried to kill her on several occasions but failed. However, one day they developed a plan to tell Tonia they are finally going to get that gun that she needed. So they picked her up one evening about 7 p.m. It was Oscar Barnes and Denvelin Minute, also known as Bubbler. So they picked her up and she went with them because she trusted Denvelin. As stated before, she knew him, she was familiar with him, and he was familiar with the family. And Oscar was invited by Denvelin. So they drove up into the hills of Sherwood Forest in Portland, and it was dark. She was scared. She was like, "Oh, I'm getting scared." And I told her, "Don't worry, keep going." As she kept on going, they came to a stop where Denvelin, he got out of the car, and Oscar attempted to step out, and then he closed the door, went back into the car. Then he placed his hands around her neck, trapped her neck against the headrest, and stabbed her in her side as she fought for her life. He also slit her throat as she gasped for air. Before he slit her throat, her last words were, "My mother warned me." In the police report, it stated that she was stabbed about a dozen times and her throat was slit. She was also burnt. 90% of her body was burnt, along with her car. By morning, I guess because of the fire, the police came by. They assessed the area. Everton was called to identify the body of his wife in this car. I don't know how he reacted there, but that's how the story goes. According to Denvelin, before he left the site, he said he saw the police going by and he tried to stop them and let them know that what was going on. But I think that was all crap, because if he was trying to save her life, why didn't he stop Bonds when he was stabbing her? No, he was very greedy. All he saw was money. However, we are still thankful that he came forward and gave up Oscar and Everton. So Tonia was found on July 20th, 2020. As time went by, Denvelin was supposed to be paid by BEECHy Stout, which he never received the $3 million that he first promised him. So he kept contacting him, and BEECHy Stout kept giving him all types of story, never paid him. So Denvelin decided to turn him in to the police. And here is where we got all the information of what happened. If it wasn't for BEECHy Stout not paying him, we wouldn't have known this story today. Denvelin is serving a 20-year life sentence for his part in the murder. Oscar Barnes and BEECHy Stout is also serving a life sentence for the gruesome murder of Tonia. Both men were ordered to serve 28 years and 11 months before they will be eligible for parole. Additional conspiracy convictions carried sentence of 4 years plus 6 months for McDonald and 6 years and 6 months for bonds. Also, during this trial, we found out that Everton McDonald is responsible for his wife's death. And during this trial, they reopened the case of the first wife, Marlene. It was said he paid a policeman to take his first wife out, and this trial is to begin in April 13, 2026. I would like to say rest in peace to Tonia Mcdonald, rest in peace to Marlene McDonald and Tonia's dad. As we saw that one thing led to another and another and another. We found out like 3 murders came from this one case. This is a case of trust. This is a case of betrayal. This is a case of infidelity. This is a case of greed. It's just sad to say that you cannot trust anyone. I think Tonia put a lot of trust in her husband. Marlene put a lot of trust in her husband. Denvelin also put a lot of trust in BEECHy Stout. Oscar put a lot of trust into Denvelin. It was all intertwined, and sadly it ended badly. But I must say justice has been served. Rest in peace to all that lost their lives. And if you're wondering if this case is related to the first case that I posted here, yes, it is. Everton McDonald is the father of Andre McDonald. So if you haven't seen that case, go over and watch that case. It's the same situation where a husband unalived his wife. So Everton McDonald is the father of Andre McDonald. I also want to add that the family of Tonia Mcdonald was very happy to see the outcome of the trial. The sister, I know that she fainted, and she was there relentlessly for 6 months following the trial of her sister. She cried at the end. She fainted because she was shocked and was waiting for this day. Thank God that they were served justice.
And having to live through all of it, reading it in the media, just imagining what my sister went through in her final moments. It haunts me to this day. So this is not something that you heal from. This is something that stays with you for a long time, maybe for all my years. And I'll always remember my baby sister, because when I look in the mirror, I see her. It's just imagining the fashion that she was taken from us. Cruel. I totally agree with Judge Justice Tam. Totally agree with him.
The mom also was overjoyed. She couldn't believe her eyes. She was happy that justice was served, although it's not going to bring back her beloved daughter. She was able to see that he will never ever get out of jail as long as she's alive. She is sad that her husband was taken out due to this whole mess, but hopefully he will serve his time for her husband's murder. She told us at the end that she was also shot during the time that her husband was killed. So she's affected by this whole situation. Her children, she said she has children overseas. They are also sadly, affected because Tonia was her youngest child. She was the baby of the family, and the way that Tonia was taken out, no one should have died that way. No one should have been treated that way, the way her husband treated her. She disclosed that her siblings, she disclosed that her daughters are receiving therapy due to what happened to Tonia, and her grandchildren. It's a sad situation all around. Guys, thank you for watching.